Today, we expose a warning that the supermarkets, the government, and the major food retailers are working very hard to keep out of the headlines. Right now, in May 2026, Britain's food supply system is under a level of strain it has not seen since the depths of the pandemic. Major supermarket chains are confirming wave after wave of store closures. The boss of Britain's Farmers' Union has openly warned the country may be staring down empty supermarket shelves. The government has quietly wargamed a national food shortage. And the Iran war that erupted in February is squeezing the one invisible resource that the entire British food chain depends on. This isn't fear-mongering. This is the warning the people in charge are giving in private while telling you everything's fine in public. Let me give you the hard data straight away. Morrisons, one of Britain's big four supermarkets, has confirmed the closure of around 100 convenience stores, part of a wider restructuring that the company itself admits has been exacerbated in recent years by significant cost increases resulting from government policy choices. The chairman of the National Farmers' Union, Tom Bradshaw, has warned The Times that the US-Iran conflict has triggered an inflationary wave likely to peak in the autumn, and that the UK may see empty supermarket shelves if the agriculture sector isn't supported. And Whitehall has been drafting emergency plans as the conflict threatens UK carbon dioxide supplies, with potential knock-on effects for meat producers, brewers, and food businesses this summer. I'm going to be straight with you, the way British front media always is. The shelves in most British supermarkets are not bare today, but every single warning sign that preceded the empty shelves of 2021 and 2023 is flashing red again right now. And this time, there's a war driving it. We've spent days digging through Morrisons' closure lists, NFU warnings, Whitehall briefings, USDA data, and supply chain analysis to bring you the 10 fronts on which Britain's food system is cracking, and the cities and communities feeling it first. But before we get into it, if you shop, if you've noticed prices climbing, or if you remember the empty shelves of recent years and don't want to be caught out again, hit that subscribe button right now. We're British front media, and the supermarkets would much rather you didn't connect the closures, the warnings, and the war into one picture. We have you. Every subscriber, every share, every comment forces the truth higher up the algorithm, so subscribe. Drop a comment with your town. Let's expose what's really happening. Front 1. The Morrisons closures. The visible crack. Let's start with what you can already see. Morrisons has confirmed the closure of 17 Morrisons daily convenience stores, 52 cafes, 18 market kitchens, 13 florists, 35 meat counters, 35 fish counters, and 4 pharmacies, and signalled a broader pullback affecting around 100 convenience stores in total. The stores closing were all formerly part of the McColl's chain that Morrisons bought out of administration for £190 million in 2022. Now, I'll be honest. Morrisons is also opening new franchise stores, so this is a reshaping rather than a total collapse. But the closures are real, the lost meat and fish counters are real, and the communities losing their local shop are real. Front 2. The communities losing their shops first. The 17 confirmed Morrisons' daily closures land in specific residential neighbourhoods across England, Scotland and Wales, removing local shopping options from communities including Peebles in the Scottish borders, Haxby, Shenfield in Essex and Goring by Sea. The full list runs through Gorleston in Norfolk, Poole in Dorset, Tunbridge in Kent, Romsey in Hampshire and Stewarton in East Ayrshire. Scottish communities face a disproportionate share of the pain. For an elderly resident in one of these towns who relied on that shop within walking distance, the closure isn't a strategic recalibration, it's a food access crisis. Front 3, the cafe and counter cull. It isn't just whole stores. The disappearance of 52 Morrisons cafes and dozens of fresh meat and fish counters tells you where the pressure is. These are the labour-intensive, service-heavy parts of a supermarket, and they're the first to go when staffing and energy costs spike. Sainsbury's has joined in too, having earlier announced it would be closing all its remaining in-store cafes. A total of 365 jobs were put at risk in the Morrisons announcement alone. The supermarket is hollowing out from the inside, shedding everything that isn't bare minimum grocery retail. Front 4, the government's own admission, the cost crisis. Here's the part that should make you angry. Morrisons didn't blame shoppers or competition for the closures. The company stated plainly that the situation was exacerbated by significant cost increases resulting from government policy choices. That means the national insurance rises, the minimum wage increases, and the business rates burden from the 2025 budget, the exact same policy cocktail we've exposed killing British pubs at almost 2 a day. The same government decisions hollowing out the high street are now hollowing out the food retail network too. Front 5, the CO2 lifeline, the invisible threat. Now we get to the part nobody's talking about. The single most dangerous threat to your supermarket shelves this summer isn't a store closure. It's a gas you can't see. Carbon dioxide is, in the words of one analysis, the quiet workhorse of British food and drink. It's used to stun pigs and poultry at abattoirs, to pack fresh meat and salad leaves in the modified atmosphere packaging that keeps bacteria at bay, and to put the fizz in beer and soft drinks. The UK is among Europe's heaviest consumers of the gas, and the Iran war is now threatening that supply. As the 2021 CO2 crunch demonstrated, this is a dependency that can turn from background utility to front-page crisis within days. Front 6, the secret Whitehall food drill. And the government knows. Ministers have been quietly drafting emergency plans, with the Technology Secretary earmarking £100 million to restart the mothballed Ensus bioethanol plant on Teesside for a 3-month run, specifically to hedge against wartime CO2 shortages. Think about that. The government is spending £100 million to preempt a food packaging gas shortage, while telling the public to keep calm and carry on. As the analysis put it, don't mistake the silence on the shelves for complacency in the corridors of power. They're worried. They're just not saying it loudly. Front 7. The fertilizer shock, next year's empty shelves. The Iran war is hitting food at the most fundamental level, the ability to grow it. Roughly half of the world's urea fertilizer is produced in the Gulf and typically moves through the Strait of Hormuz, the choke point now snarled by the conflict. Prices for urea, a key ingredient in high nitrogen fertilizers, have surged from around $350 per ton to over $600 for the first time since 2022. And here's the time bomb. As one agricultural expert warned, the fertilizer you don't put into your crops in March and April, you can't make up for in June and July if a ceasefire comes. The shelves of late 2026 and 2027 are being decided by planting decisions made under wartime fertilizer prices right now. Front 8. The diesel and transport squeeze. Modern food systems rely on energy at every single step, from fertilizer production to refrigerated transport. Since late February, petrol and diesel prices have risen sharply, with the average price of unleaded petrol surging more than 17 pence a litre to over 150 pence after Iran announced the closure of the Strait of Hormuz and oil hit $110 a barrel. The boss of Asda himself has warned of temporary shortages at the petrol pumps. Every refrigerated lorry moving food across Britain now costs more to run, and those costs flow straight onto the shelf, or, if suppliers can't absorb them, off the shelf entirely. Front 9. The fruit and veg cliff edge. British fruit and vegetable producers have already warned they may be forced to halt production and end the season early because of the rising price of energy and transportation. We've seen this exact pattern before. In the empty shelf crisis of early 2023, it was salad items like tomatoes and cucumbers, along with apples, broccoli, and root vegetables, that vanished first, because British growers heat their winter greenhouses with now unaffordable energy. The same vulnerability exists today, amplified by war. The produce aisle is always the first place a food shock shows up, and the warning lights are already on. Front 10. The inflation wave still building. Pulling it all together, the NFU chairman has warned the US-Iran conflict triggered an inflationary wave likely to peak in the autumn. The United Nations reported its global food price index rose 2.4% in March, the second consecutive month of rising prices, with staples like tomatoes, bananas, and onions spiking since the war began. The UN warns the disruption could push an additional 45 million people worldwide into acute hunger. Bradshaw's one note of reassurance is that food inflation is unlikely to surpass the 19.2% peak seen after the Ukraine invasion, but not quite as bad as the worst cost of living crisis in 40 years, is hardly comfort. Why this is happening, and why the warning is real. The forces converging on your supermarket are distinct but reinforcing. On the retail side, government cost increases. National insurance, minimum wage, business rates are making marginal stores unprofitable and forcing closures, exactly as they're doing to pubs. On the supply side, the Iran war is hitting the food chain at every level simultaneously. CO2 for packaging, fertilizer for growing, diesel for transport, and energy for refrigeration and greenhouses. Britain imports a huge share of its food and is uniquely exposed to global shocks. And the post-Brexit loss of EU labour and frictionless trade has stripped resilience out of the system. None of these is a passing blip. They are structural vulnerabilities, and a war has lit a match next to all of them at once. What this means for you. 3 practical things to take from this. First, don't panic buy, but do build a sensible buffer. The experts are clear that the acute risk window is summer and autumn 2026, driven by CO2 and the fertilizer planting cycle. A modest store cupboard of long-life staples is prudent risk management, not paranoia. And crucially, mass panic buying is what actually creates empty shelves, so the responsible move is steady, not frantic. Second, if your local store is one of the ones closing, Peebles, Haxby, Shenfield, Goring-by-Sea and the rest, sort out your alternative now. Check the nearest remaining store and set up an online delivery account before you need it, because home delivery networks often operate independently of specific store closures. Third, understand the political dimension. Morrison's has openly blamed government policy choices for the closures, and the NFU is pleading for agricultural support to prevent empty shelves. The resilience of your food supply is, in large part, a policy decision about how we support farmers, how we tax retailers, and how we hedge against global shocks. The £100 million CO2 contingency shows the government can act when it chooses to. The question is whether it acts fast enough. The truth nobody in charge will say loudly is this: Britain's supermarkets are not collapsing overnight, and your shelves are not bare this morning. But every early warning system the country has is sounding at once. Confirmed store closures, a farmers' union chief warning of empty shelves, a secret government food drill, a £100 million emergency gas hedge, doubling fertiliser prices, and petrol back over 150 pence. All driven by a war that shows no sign of a durable end. We've seen what happens when these pressures peak. We saw it in 2021. We saw it in 2023. The difference in 2026 is that this time, they're all happening together. Don't mistake the silence on the shelves for safety. The people in charge certainly aren't. If this video opened your eyes to what's really happening to Britain's food supply, hit that subscribe button one more time. Drop a comment telling us your town and whether your local supermarket is one of the ones affected. And subscribe to British Front Media because we're doing this every single week. New investigation, new exposé, new truth the establishment doesn't want you to hear. Until next time, read the labels, question the headlines, and protect your plate.